This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLisio and Kenny Burgamy.
And look who's back. 2 straight weeks of flying solo. We finally have the legendary Kenny Burgamy back with us. You've been a busy man.
Yeah, a little work, a little play, but I'm ready to go now.
Yeah, I second that motion as well. As always, got a great show for you. Coming up, we head to Washington, D.C., yet another road trip for Mr. Burgamy here. Really cool story on the Smithsonian Gardens and the massive staff it takes to keep them looking beautiful year after year.
Also on the program, take a trip with us to the East Point Farmers Market, see how both the customers as well as the vendors are benefiting from the state's SNAP EBT food assistance program. And then later.
Hey everybody, Ranger Nick. You may know the 2-legged variety of Rangers like myself, but this month I'm introducing you to a 4-legged variety. We're hanging out with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources K-9 unit, and it's all starting right now on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Several weeks ago, the Farm Monitor crew got a chance to visit the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. We had the opportunity to explore the 13 gardens that enhance any visit to the nation's capital and the Smithsonian museums.
Any visitor to the world's largest museum and research complex, known as the Smithsonian Institute, will notice the intricate gardens that are professionally maintained just outside these beautiful Washington buildings. The most widely visible of the Smithsonian consists of 19 museums and galleries, as well as the National Zoological Park. 17 of these collections are located in Washington, with 11 of those located on the National Mall.
The Smithsonian Gardens mission is to enrich the Smithsonian experience through horticultural exhibits, fine gardens, collections, and education. What I do as director of the Smithsonian Gardens is lead an incredible group of horticulturists, gardeners, volunteers. It's just the dream job, really. It's a dream job for me. I always say I have the best job in the room.
The director of the Smithsonian Gardens said it's hard to comprehend the world's largest museum facilities without the horticultural flavor.
I can't even imagine that. I mean, the gardens are such an integral part of the Smithsonian experience. In fact, I think, when the visitor steps on our grounds, they're surprised by the incredible fine gardening that's going on here at the institution.
The Smithsonian Gardens are expansive and require a large staff working year-round.
Well, we have 13 gardens. We do gardens that are thematic around each of the museums that are located here on the National Mall. Our newest garden will be the National Museum of African American History and Culture, which will open in mid-September. But we also have our American History Gardens, which includes a Victory Garden, vegetable garden, as well as at our Natural History Museum. We have an urban bird habitat, which helps to educate the public on how to attract wildlife to their backyards, as well as a butterfly habitat garden, which we're in the process of renaming a pollinator garden and renaming and reinterpreting so that, again, we encourage the public to learn how to build gardens that are healthy for pollinators.
And what you see up and down the National Mall is actually a small portion of what is done by the staff of the Smithsonian Gardens.
One of the things about being a public garden is that you've got to be able to have plant material that's readily available, and particularly public gardens that want to do something a little bit different. And so our gardens, the plant material is mostly supplied by our greenhouse nursery division. This is a 64,000 square foot greenhouse facility that's off-site. It's about 10 miles, located in Suitland, Maryland. Not open to the public, except maybe by appointment. We do have a few people that come by and see our incredible facility. And there we have 16 individuals that are growing tropical plants to to bedding plants, and also curating and managing our orchid collection. You know, one of the things that I really am worried about is that there are not enough students going into the field of horticulture, agriculture in general. We really have a hard time finding good candidates. We have a hard time finding interns to come and learn about particularly our field of public horticulture. So I think this is something that we all have to really get behind and work on.
Hey, and next week the Monitor is back on the road, this time from the great state of New York, including Niagara Falls and Broome County, New York. That's the birthplace of the American Farm Bureau. Join us as we take a trip down memory lane and show you the Empire State's unique brand of agriculture. Again, that's next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor. Georgia farmers depend on the ability to irrigate their crops, and with modern irrigation systems, crops get watered in a timely manner and natural resources are conserved.
Yeah, the Monitor's Mark Wildman visited one Middle Georgia farm where high-tech irrigation saves time and money.
During the hot, dry Georgia summers, farmers depend heavily on their center pivot irrigation systems. Running these systems are very expensive, and they need to operate as efficiently as possible. Here on one of Sodmasters GA's fields in Montrose, Georgia, farm manager Glenn Solomon uses a system from Rinke Manufacturing.
Irrigation is probably the only saving grace we have in the farm community now. Without irrigation, it's just really tough to grow a quality product, especially when you start talking turf grass. Turf grass just really can't be grown unless you can irrigate.
Modern irrigation systems use computer technology so the farmer can customize irrigation, which saves the farm time and money.
Most of these pivots that I've got on the farm, I can turn them on remotely from my cell phone now. I can change the direction, stop them at any time. I think one of the favorite things is the guys, when they're out spraying or working, they call me and tell me to move the pivot a little bit so they don't have to get out of the tractor that's air conditioned.
Glenn works close with his local dealer, Jay Brown, to make sure he has the right system and it is operating at peak efficiency.
We really push the technology side for farmers like Mr. Glenn and all here that can really take this to their advantage, and it allows them to focus more on other things that need to be done around the farm and get more done in the same amount of effort. And we really like the technology there. There's a lot of simple aspects of it that can save you time and keep you from having to go do a lot of struggling and all.
Mike Mills is the Southeast Territory Manager for Rinke Manufacturing, and he works close with dealers to help educate them on new technologies that are changing all the time.
It is amazing to see what's happened just in the last decade, where we've gone from manual switches and push buttons to touchscreen computerized control panels, GPS guidance on components, as well as remote control and remote monitoring operations. We can now monitor temperature, soil moisture, leaf wetness, humidity, report that directly to the grower on any one of a number of mobile devices, and then allow that grower to make real-time changes to their irrigation scheduling and operation without ever having to come out to the field. And that has just been a tremendous boost for the efficacy of the farmer, the yield boost, as well as the being a better steward of the water and the natural resources.
If a farm has an irrigation system in place, it can be fitted with new technologies. This pivot at Sodmasters is a good example of that. But the real challenge for irrigation professionals is communication with the farmers.
You know, it's a slow process, but don't lose sight of the fact that it's here. So it may not be something that every grower is comfortable with today. Everybody has to find their own comfort level, but prepare for it because it is coming. And so if it's not you, if it's your next generation, at least prepare yourself when you're making your equipment and product selections.
So as the summer heats up in Middle Georgia, farms like this one in Montrose can utilize high-tech tools to not only save time, but money as well. I'm Mark Wildman for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
All right, Mark, great job. Now, when we come back, the caring hearts behind the Georgia Farm Markets Association and how they are providing healthy options to people living in food deserts. Not sure what that is? We'll explain when the Georgia Farm Monitor continues. In 2010, the Georgia Farmers Market Association was created to serve the many needs of its markets throughout the state and to improve awareness and visibility to consumers and the communities they serve. Well, 6 years later, it has exceeded many expectations, but more importantly, it's making a difference, especially in those troubling areas commonly referred to as food deserts.
How many are you feeding? Four, so here I think you should do 6.
Every Wednesday in East Point, Georgia, an old firehouse is transformed into a festival of food, fun, and trinkets for all to enjoy. This, however, just one of about 250 markets throughout the state that are making a difference in the lives of those who want healthier options but can't afford them through traditional means. And for those who have been a part of it from the beginning, it's a dream come true.
It's awesome right now. There were times where we have maybe 2 vendors, and we'll be over there in that field over there, and it'll be raining, nobody come, to this point where we almost have 20. We averaged over 20 vendors a market. So it's an awesome feeling to see it come to this, and especially in this area that's a desert, considered no grocery stores and everything.
I mean, as you can see from today's participation, the community has really come out and they're finally getting to just see each other's faces and meet each other, become comfortable with each other, and just excited about healthy living.
Lang says one of the reasons why this market and others are so successful is due large in part to the SNAP EBT program through Wholesome Wave, Georgia. The program allows those on food assistance to double their dollars on fresh, healthy, locally grown food, which not only benefits SNAP recipients, but also the local farmers who provide it.
The reality is that everybody wants fresh, healthy food for their families. And so knowing that in areas where we have food deserts or we have limited access to fresh food, knowing that that problem was there, it became a really important part of the association to make sure that people knew, that producers knew that they could actually become certified to take SNAP, and that markets could become certified to take SNAP, and that shoppers knew that not only could they use their shopping dollars at the farmers market and support their local economy, but that through programs like Wholesome Wave, they could double the value of SNAP at their local farmers market.
We have really gone out to this community and tried to get anybody that is on food assistance dollars to actually come to the market, and it has really worked. So a lot of the folks that come are on food assistance dollars, but I mean, we have people from all walks of life, which is really exciting.
We like to see the community kind of take ownership of their market, and so when you see shoppers of all backgrounds coming and meeting and connecting at the farmers market, it's, it just feels like this is what community should be like. So whether it's East Point or Norcross or Monroe or even down at Forsyth Market in Savannah, we just love to see that communities are connecting and that people are getting to know their neighbors at the market.
And if you'd like to learn more about the Georgia Farmers Market Association or how to become a member, log on to the address you see there. That is mygeorgiamarket.org. On the website, you'll find all the information you need, including market location and times of operation. Again, that's mygeorgiamarket.org. And just a reminder, if you missed any part of the story or others on today's program, you can still see them in their entirety at our YouTube channel. That is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Also, head over to Facebook and like our page there. Don't forget, if you have a story idea or if you just want to leave us a comment or suggestion, feel free. Send us a message either on Facebook or at the address listed below. That's news@farm-monitor.com.
With more than 12,000 members across 20 different states, Gap Connections is a nonprofit organization that strives to educate tobacco growers about the ever-changing rules and regulations. Damon Jones recently attended their first On the Farm event held in Georgia and has this story.
Tobacco growers around southwest Georgia brought a number of their workers along for this on-farm safety training event held at Tucker Farms in Berrien County. It touched on a number of different topics ranging from first aid to pesticide safety in an effort to maximize the benefit.
These are all important topics. I mean, you can't just worry about wage and hour. You got to worry about the safety aspects. You got to worry about field sanitation. So I think all of these topics are really important, and especially our informational booths. There's a lot of outreach programs for the farm workers, and it's important for them to know about those resources.
This is the first event Gap Connections, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to farm safety and compliance, has put on in Georgia. And to make things even easier, they had teachers that were bilingual.
We do use a lot of migrant workers ourselves with vegetables and VICA, and it was something I had been saying we needed to train our workers, because before it was all left up to me to make sure they was trained, and I don't speak Spanish, so it's hard. I would have to go out and find somebody that could interpret.
With harvesting season well in full swing, there are a number of different dangers both the workers and farmers need to be aware of.
Green tobacco sickness, so we want to make the workers aware of that, how to prevent it. Same thing with just general farm safety, your PPEs to make sure you're using them correctly. Heat stress, obviously Georgia this time of year and through the summer it gets warmer and warmer, and so heat stress is always a concern.
While this might be the first, it will certainly not be the last event of its kind in the state, as it's more important than ever for farmers to be up to date on rules and regulations.
With all the food safety going on with the vegetables and with the tobacco industry, all the safety, it's constantly changing from year to year, and more paperwork to keep up with, more documentation, more workers' rights that you have to document that you are providing for them. So you have to stay very current because it changes from year to year.
Farmers generally don't get the opportunity to sit down and talk to the Wage and Hour, DOL, in a space like this where they can ask questions and learn things just to make sure that they are doing the right thing.
And that's really the main thing Gap Connections wants farmers to take away from this event, as they have more than 15 different companies and agencies they work with. It's the type of resources those in attendance are encouraged to take advantage of.
Maybe they're intimidated by some of the regulatory agencies. So I hope today they come and they're able to ask some questions that they may have in the back of their mind and just haven't had someone to answer. So I hope that, and then I also hope the workers realize that, these growers, they care about having a safe working environment, and they care about their workers, and this is an important event for both of them, the growers and the workers.
Reporting from Berrien County, I'm Damon Jones for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Hey everybody, Ranger Nick. Coming up next, I'll introduce you to a tool that the Georgia DNR is using of the four-legged variety. Stick around.
Welcome back to the Monitor. Hey, don't forget, June is Dairy Month, and as our way of recognizing the nearly 300 dairymen across the state, the Georgia Farm Bureau held its annual Dairy Day recently. For the folks at Sudia, this was an opportunity to not only show off their products, but to also share important information about the industry and the benefits of milk and milk products. Well, finally today, it was only a matter of time before it happened, and now we can officially say that our monthly edition of Ranger Nick has gone to the dogs.
Yeah, but not in a bad way. You see, this month, UGA professor Dr. Nick Furman shows us how the Georgia DNR are using canines for a multitude of purposes.
All right, so think fast. You think Department of Natural Resources, maybe you think hunting licenses, fishing licenses, maybe your favorite state park. You probably didn't think about canine law enforcement, and I'm hanging out today with Corporal Varnell with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, who's going to introduce us to Rock in a couple of minutes, who is a canine officer here in Georgia. Corporal, tell us a little about your experience in law enforcement here in Georgia to begin.
Sure, Nick. I started my law enforcement career in 1994, where I worked for a local sheriff's department here in the state of Georgia, and then I came to work for Georgia Department of Natural Resources Law Enforcement Division in 1998.
Excellent, and you oversee the canine training in the state of Georgia, right?
I do. I actually went to North Carolina and trained for several months to become a certified trainer.
This is the thing to me that I really cannot get over, is the amount of service that animal provides for you, not only protecting you, but also our natural resources. Tell us about some things that those canine officers are doing that the general public might not know about.
Sure. Our canine handlers and canines, for that matter, are trained in a wide variety of different aspects of law enforcement. They are trained in evidence recovery. They are trained in tracking. They are trained in apprehension. They are trained in wildlife detection and also trained in obedience.
Now, what I want to talk about with you next is this idea of some of the things that they have helped you do, not only in protecting you, but helping you find illegal activity going on out there throughout the state of Georgia. So let's talk about that. All right, so all the services that canine officer is providing for Corporal Varnell. Corporal, tell us, what are some things that he's been able to do and serve and help you with?
Well, I would say probably 80% of our time is spent tracking, whether it's tracking hunters to help us in the performance of our duties, or if it's tracking lost children, Alzheimer's patients, and he, in Rock's career, my canine, he has found and all of those hunters to lost children, Alzheimer's patients.
So recovering and being able to find individuals out in the woods, how about from an evidence standpoint? What are some things that he's been able to help find in terms of big busts out there in the woods?
Well, we are called in quite often by state agencies or local county municipalities, city municipalities to try and locate evidence in a crime. And we have, through the years, we have found a lot of different types of evidence, whether it's guns used in homicides, evidence used in home invasions to bank robbers, and also within our performance of our job, we have people that will try and hide guns, bow and arrows, that type of stuff from us that they have gone in and found.
So the training that must go on to train an animal like Officer Rock's got to be incredible. And I'm spending some time with Mark McKinnon, who's the public affairs officer for Georgia DNR Law Enforcement. Mr. McKinnon has an inert, inoperable firearm that we are actually going to go hide in the weeds over here for Officer Rock to find. So, Mark, let's walk over here together and put this thing in the weeds. This thing is completely inoperable, does not work at all, but it is going to be the bait for Officer Rock to find. So where are you thinking about putting it?
Well, I think I'm going to put it right here in the edge of the grass. You know, we don't want to put it out in the open. That'd be too easy, and these dogs are very well trained in finding something that's not easy to find. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it right over here in the grass. If you want to watch,
all right.
Toss it right in there. And that's not very easy to see there especially if you're in the middle of the field here. So we're going to see if Rock can find that, and I have a whole lot of confidence that he will.
Get your bets ready. We're going to see if Officer Rock can find that. Okay, so we sped up the camera a little bit, but in real time, it took Officer Rock just under 2 minutes, not knowing where that firearm was at all, to find it. That is incredible. And these are the kinds of services that officers like this officer are doing for us here in Georgia. Thank you so much, Corporal Varnell. We so appreciate you spending some time with us today. Really, we learned so much about what these officers are doing to protect natural resources and us. Well, y'all know what to do. Hop online and check out the Georgia Farm Monitor Facebook page, and while you're there, wag your tail on over to the Ranger Nick Facebook page and like that. You know I love it when you do it. And until next time, for the Farm Monitor, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you that enthusiasm is contagious. So pass it on. Y'all, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you right back here again next month. See ya.
All right, Nick, thank you very much. Rock, thank you as well. He was a very good dog. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Just a reminder, for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm, be sure and check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and the Farm Monitor Show.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Have a great week.